So in this video, I wanted to talk about dealing with change and unexpected situations while traveling. This video is about dealing with change and unexpected situations while traveling. And while these can be difficult for anyone, they're specifically difficult for anyone who is neurodivergent, especially for those who are autistic, who have anxiety, and who might have ADHD. Change can often shatter that mental image of what we expected things to look like, and instead leave us feeling really disoriented when our mental picture of how our day, our weekend, our week of traveling is going to look like. What this can do is it can trigger catastrophic thinking, where the change can make us feel like things are crashing down around us, the trip that we're on is going to be ruined, and it can lead into negative thoughts and negative self-talk like, I'm terrible at traveling, why can't I be flexible like my friends, like, I'm just really a bad person because my friends want me to do this thing and I don't want to do it and I'm panicking and what is wrong with me? So what do you do to deal with when that image gets shattered? So first, anytime you're traveling, know that there are safe spaces that you can retreat to. When you arrive, scout out the area, read the conference guide, check out your hotel, Airbnb, hostel, and the area around it, and find places that will be calming, that don't trigger sensory overload, that will help you retreat to if something causes you to feel anxiety or overload related to plans changing and being disoriented because of being in an unusual place that is a big change from where you usually live. And then when you're going about your travels, you know there's that place you can retreat to. This is one reason I advise not booking hostels for neurodivergent people. It is a lot to deal with, being in a bunk room with bunk beds with 6 to 10 other people. You don't have that quiet zone to retreat to. I really like booking at least a private room. Some hostels have private rooms, an Airbnb with a private room, or an apartment or hotel room entirely to yourself. Highly recommend. Having that safe space to retreat to can also look like, and I'm going to pull this from my bag, a yoga mat. So when I'm traveling, I always carry a little travel yoga mat like this. And that way, anywhere I go, I can pull out this yoga mat and create a little rectangle of safe space for myself. And then I put on my noise blocking headphones and I sit on the mat, or I do yoga on the mat, or I do mindfulness meditation on the mat. I know I look funny rolling out a yoga mat in a busy bus stop, in a parking lot, but I have been shamelessly doing it for a year in Southeast Asia and also in Puerto Rico and at conferences, and I'm used to it. And that's where it's also very useful to have a friend that you can call who is not there in that situation, or a therapist who is not there in that situation and can objectively help you walk through and calm you down because you told them before you traveled, I know I might get anxiety or overloaded from traveling. Can you please be my lifeline? I'm going to these places on these dates. It might be difficult for me. And having that friend you can call who's not there, who's not going to lecture you about going with the flow and being flexible, that's going to be huge. Realize the triggers of when you are dealing with what may be an anxiety attack related to change while traveling. Perhaps if you're like me, you may find mindfulness practice and mindfulness meditation helps so that you can be aware and think through what is in the situation that you're experiencing through your senses and mindfully think through what is causing me to feel this way and what can I do to be more present in this moment and not make it feel like everything is falling apart and I'm in crisis. So if you do find mindfulness works for you, great. I can recommend Doug's Secular Dharma here on YouTube. And also some other things that may help for you. If you have a therapist and you've been working on cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, with them, sometimes CBT can be a great help for autistic and neurodivergent people. It is not something I've had experience with, but I can recommend some other neurodivergent YouTubers who have talked about CBT. And I can recommend a autistic YouTuber who has talked about CBT, which is Purple Ella. I will link to their vlog below. And I can recommend some YouTubers who have talked about dealing with anxiety and travel, including Purple Ella, Neurodivergent Rebel, and also for people who are ADHD, How to ADHD. I will link to them below. Change in unexpected situations happen all the time. That includes while trying to shoot this video, as I was hoping to shoot this video at a nice sunny hilltop overlooking the mountains of West Virginia, and instead it was a rainy day and I had to shoot in this auditorium next to the Monongalia River. But I hope you're still able to enjoy some of the view. Speaking of change, the river is a little brighter. It's still raining, but it's not this heavy downpour that it was about 30 minutes ago when I got out here. So I feel lucky. I feel grateful. I am over my anxiety about filming in the rain and practicing gratitude and realizing I just got through this change in my plans to shooting this video. I'll probably journal about this later and reflect on it. And that's going to help me because I am now feeling gratitude that I have been able to adjust to this change. So I'm going to give you a few examples of how I've dealt with change while traveling. I've run into some unexpected changes while in Thailand and Southeast Asia, one of which was my first trip there in 2016. And I had been wanting to go to Thailand for years, actually, since I started studying Thai and Thai culture in 2007. So 9 years of wanting to go to Thailand. I had just over 2 weeks, and I had this great plan that I was going to meet up with my friend May. We were going to go to Bangkok, then go to the northwest to check out Chiang Mai, then take a van to this little town called Bai, stay there a few days, take that van several hours back to Chiang Mai, get on a plane, take the plane to the south of Thailand to a ferry, and that ferry was going to take us to the island of Koh Phangan, and then on Koh Phangan we were going to check out the beach, and we were going to go snorkeling, and we were then going to go to the full moon party, and oh my God, that's a lot of things just saying it out loud. So what happened is we arrive in Bangkok, it is sweltering hot, the place we book is in an extremely busy area that is completely overwhelming with sights and sounds and noises, and there's not really a quiet place to retreat to, and both May and I really like nature and green space, and that area of Bangkok near Khao San Road has almost no green space, and May really liked hula hooping, and they decided to find a park to go hula hooping, and they were wearing a tank top, and guess what? A police officer found them hula hooping in a tank top, told them they were being indecent in public, and sent them home. So our first 3 days were hot, sweltering, overwhelming, and complete overload for both of us. and then we have to take a flight to Chiang Mai. And Chiang Mai, we have to find a hotel where they only speak Thai because my Thai friends had recommended this hotel. And then we had to figure out where we're going to eat. And there was a shopping mall and it's overwhelming. And again, there's not much green space. So before we've even gotten to Bai, we are overwhelmed, having anxiety, breaking down in the hotel room that we're sharing, not having alone time. And we get on that van to Bai after 5 days of travel, arrive, and it is this beautiful, mountainous, green, quiet, lush area. In fact, one of the reasons I now live in West Virginia is it reminded me a bit of Bai in Thailand and a bit of Dalat in Vietnam with the mountains and how green and lush it is. But we get to Bai and we're supposed to spend just a few days there and head to Koh Phangan in the south of Thailand, and both of us need some alone time because we're at each other's throats from stress. So we each get a separate bungalow, and she goes to the circus hostel, which is full of people who love hula hoops and juggling and spinning fire, and I go to a nice little quiet spot to myself where the only things or people I had to interact with was the hotel keeper and some geckos in my room who are cute. So we get to Bai and we both say we're going to regroup in a day or two. And in a day or two, we're really enjoying how quiet and serene and chill, and she's loving her circus hostel where she can take juggling and fire spinning classes and hula hooping. And I'm loving my quiet little spot, and we both say, what if we stay here instead of going to Koh Phangan? I had a really hard time admitting to May and admitting to myself that I kind of didn't want to go to Koh Phangan because I had this image in my mind for years of visiting Koh Phangan, of seeing the islands, of seeing the beaches, and it was very hard to admit to my friend, I'm getting overwhelmed. Like, this feels good, and May said it, and they were feeling overwhelmed, and they liked having a bungalow to themselves, and we decided we would then spend our second week in Thailand in Bai. We were not going to go to the south and not visiting Patalung and Koh Phangan and Koh Tao and the full moon party, and it was a great decision, but I was freaked out. And I look back on this, and when I was in Bai, I didn't get to go to a beach, but I got to go to a waterfall that was formed from the land split when there was an earthquake, and there's this beautiful waterfall and this little pond, and you can swim in that. I may not have gone to the full moon party, but I got to see some fire spinning and party at the circus hostel with my friend, which I went to the full moon party 3 years later. The circus hostel was actually more fun, highly recommend. And I may not have been able to see that part of Thailand then, but 3 years later, when I went back to Thailand, the first thing I did after spending some time in Bangkok was going to the south of Thailand and going to Koh Phangan and Koh Tao and getting a scuba certification and enjoying the beaches and spending in total about 3 months in Koh Tao and Koh Phangan and Koh Samui. And I had a great time, but had I tried to do all those things on my first trip, it would have been too much. So if plans change, be okay with it. I know a lot of our lives were upended by COVID. And another example, which you may relate to, is when I was living in Thailand, I had this image in my head. I had these friends I was going to go see. Then I was going to go move back to Saigon, Ho Chi Minh City, and see my LGBT friends who were part of Gender Funk there. I wanted to visit Bai and Dalat again in the mountains, and I had to come back because COVID was declared a pandemic. just a month after visiting Dalat, and just a few weeks after being in the Miss International Queen pageant. And at first, I moved back with my mom. That was difficult because we hadn't lived together since I was in high school. And what I realized was I needed to do something so that the change of being forced to come back to the United States could feel a little less harsh and severe and awful. And I'd gotten some advice from expats who'd also been forced to move back to their country of origin. And one of the pieces of advice was, if you move back to the place you're from, when you move back to somewhere you didn't live before, and take up a hobby or do new things that you didn't do before you had moved to that other country. And I took that advice, and because I love the mountains of Southeast Asia, I moved to West Virginia. And it actually has been a great experience. I've made some great friends. Yes, I'm happy to get back on the road, but I love my little place all to myself here. I love growing my own plants. I love having this cute little West Virginia cottagecore lifestyle. Are you seeing these oyster mushroom earrings? Oh my God, they are so cute. I'm trying to serve up some cottagecore realness, so give me a little bit of credit. So sometimes change is okay and something great comes of it. So if this has been helpful to you and you want to leave a tip or give some advice or give a little feedback, please leave a comment, hit subscribe, and hit that notification bell to get notified of future videos from me. And as always, thank you so much for watching and enjoy your travels. One thing I always recommend while traveling is traveling with a plush. A plush can really help you deal with anxiety when you're handling changes or unexpected situations. It's also a great way to reduce your anxiety by engaging in a special interest. I love forests, and this is my forest dragon, Sylvia. And I also love hedgehogs, and you may have met my hedgehog, Bia, in another video. So thank you so much and enjoy your travels.